Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. It was a normal morning. There was nothing strange about the way the sunlight softly bled through the blinds in Kim Menzies' small San Diego apartment. On the nightstand was a half-finished cup of tea. There were still traces of yesterday's phone chat with Jamal in the air. It was full of laughing, light talk, and the simple, beautiful rhythm of a mother and son who had been through too many storms together. Kim wasn't getting ready for a picture session or a new role on TV. There were no producers swarming around, and no makeup brushes were touching her face. Be quiet. The kind of silence she likes. The sort you learn to love after years of being in the public eye, going through heartbreak and mending. She stepped into the bathroom, humming to herself as the steam started to build up behind the curtain. As she reached for the faucet, the smell of lavender soap comforted her. The water got warmer. The world fell away. But then it occurred. A easy mistake. 1 second of being off balance. One breath too reckless. And she fell. Her body hit the icy tiles with a loud, horrible thud. The glass shampoo bottle broke nearby, sending shards flying. Her left hand hit the metal tap, cutting her palm open in one clean, terrible cut. The agony came on right away, acute and raw. But what came next was quiet. A loud, scary stillness. The vapor wrapped around her body like a ghost, and time seemed to freeze. She was breathing shallowly. Her arms and legs wouldn't move as quickly as she needed them to. The floor felt slippery under her, and she couldn't see clearly because she was so scared. She wasn't on a stage. There was no clapping, no cut, no retake. There was just anguish. And then nothing. It took 2 hours for a neighbor to break in after hearing running water and Kim's dog whining at the door. The ambulance got there in a few minutes. Paramedics picked her up off the floor where she was comatose, her skin pallid and her lips shaking. The emergency room took her in whole. There was a beeping sound. IVs went through her veins. When she put pressure on her bandaged hand, it hurt. The nurses talked in low voices. The doctor looked at her vital signs and shook his head, saying, "We're lucky. It might have been worse." But could have been worse doesn't help a scared heart. The news spread quickly. Jamal Menzies' phone rang in a quiet cafe across town. The sound of panic made him shiver. He was at the hospital in 20 minutes, running down long, clean corridors past nurses who didn't look him in the eye. He was there to see the one person who had always been there for him. His mom. He saw that she was still asleep, with white walls and equipment all around her. She got her medicine through tubes. There was dried blood on the white gauze that wrapped around her wrist. Her face was pale, and her breathing was steady yet shallow. Jamal stood still by the door for a whole minute. He looked like a statue made out of sadness. The strong, calm son who was on camera was no longer there. This wasn't TV. This was life. He sat down next to her and took her unhurt hand in his. "It's warm. Still living. But not the same. Delicate," he said in a whisper. "Mom, it's me." Her eyelids moved, and they opened slowly and with agony. "Jamal?" she croaked. He leaned closer, and tears started to form behind his normally confident gaze. "Yeah, I'm here. What happened?" "Mom, you fell. In the shower. You have some cuts and bruises. But you'll be okay." She stared at him, and her face showed that she was confused. Then fear. "My hand. It's cut. Pretty deep. But they sewed it up. You will get better. Just relax." Kim turned her head aside and glanced at the ceiling. One tear fell down her cheek. "I was just in the shower," she said softly. "Only a shower." That's when it really hit her, not just the pain but also how weak she was. The understanding that a life that had been meticulously put back together could be broken in seconds. That night, Jamal stayed with her. He didn't get any sleep. He hardly moved. He just sat there, clutching her hand, and stared at the machines as if he were trying to remember every beep, light, and change in heart rate. The days that came after were quiet, but not calm. Kim's injuries weren't too bad. The doctors were right. She would get better. But her heart had been hurt more deeply. Every time she tried to get up, her body hurt like it was going to explode. The bruising on her hip bone hurt like crazy when she moved. She kept trying, even though it hurt. She didn't want Jamal to think she was weak. But he was aware. He always knew. He brought her books, her favorite scarf, and even her old 90 Day Fiancé playlist from the beginning. When she saw it, she smiled, a small smile, but it was real. You want me to laugh, she said. He said, I'm trying to help you feel like yourself again. She tilted her head to the side and shut her eyes. I don't even know who that is anymore, she added in a quiet voice. It's like I fell, and I left a piece of myself on the floor of that bathroom. The fans didn't know right away. Kim had always kept her suffering to herself, which is remarkable for someone who had been on international TV for part of her life. But this wasn't heartbreak over a lover far away. This was more than that. In person. Existential. Jamal still told her to tell them, not for compassion but to connect with them. He informed her, You always said the fans kept you going. They have a right to know what you're going through. And you need their affection right now. That's why she posted a picture. Only one. She raised up her bandaged hand in a peace sign. Her face was a little puffy. Her eyes were tired. The caption was easy. I'm okay. I just need some time to get better. Thanks for your prayers. Please remember Jamal in your prayers as well. He has been so powerful. I love you all. The response was too much. There were thousands of comments. People from all across the world, including Brazil, Germany, the Philippines, and South Africa, sent words of love, support, and prayers. Some people told their own stories of falling, of trauma, of getting better. It was more than just help. It was a community coming together to support someone who had unintentionally become a symbol of strength. But being strong doesn't imply you don't feel suffering. When the nurses turned down the lights and the halls got quiet at night, Kim would turn her face to the wall and cry. Not because of the agony in her body, that was already going away with medicine, but because of the questions going around in her head. Why now? Why this way? What if no one had seen me? She didn't say those things out loud, not even to Jamal, but he was aware. He always did. One night, he sat next to her and put his hand on her leg, which was covered by a blanket. What's the scariest thing for you? He said. She gave him a look. I could have lost you. Just like that. Because of anything so dumb. A shower. Kim didn't answer. Her lips shook. She looked aside. You've been through a lot, Mom, Jamal said. You lived through heartbreak, criticism, cameras, and embarrassment. Now this? He shook his head. It's not fair. She slowly reached for his hand. She said, Life isn't fair. But it's still life. And I'm still here. It took a long time to become better. Days went into weeks. The stitches were taken out, and a faint but visible scar was left on her hand. A reminder. Sometimes she would look at it and touch it without thinking about it. She went back home with Jamal watching over her. He made dinner. He did the cleaning. He told her off nicely when she tried to do too much. She would say, I'm not an invalid. He would say, You're not indestructible either. They laughed a lot. Not quickly. With care. Like laughing could make someone fall again. But it came back. So did her power. She started writing in a journal, which she hadn't done in years. She wrote about the autumn. The fear. The rage. The feeling of being numb. And then about the thankfulness. She wrote, I could have died. But I didn't. And maybe that implies there's still something I need to do. The tabloids finally got the news. There were a lot of rumors. Headlines got her words wrong. Some others stated she fell while fighting. Others hinted at something worse. But Kim didn't care. She knew what was true. Her son did too. And what about the important people? They also knew. One afternoon, Jamal saw her sitting on the balcony with a cup of tea in her good hand, looking out at the horizon. He exclaimed, What a beautiful view. She agreed. Do you know what I figured out? What? I used to assume that strength was about how much you could handle, how well you could mask your grief, how long you could go without breaking down. But I don't think that's it anymore. He sat next to her and didn't say anything. She went on, I think strength is knowing when to take a break, when to get aid, when to let someone embrace you, not because you're weak, but because you finally understand that you don't have to do everything by yourself. For a moment, Jamal didn't say anything. Then he nodded. I think you're right. Kim Menzies is getting better. Her soul, not just her body. She moves a little more slowly now, more aware of how to hold on to rails. But her smile is brighter, more deeply. It had the weight of a lady who fell and almost died, but instead of giving up, she found a cause to start over. Jamal is always next to her. Still her son, still her power. And now, maybe for the first time, she was finally able to be held. This gossip is over, If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.